Good day and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Opposition calls for special audit over importation of Irish potatoes. St. Catherine North Police recovers stolen cattle. And later in sports, Sunshine Girls defeat England to take Vitality Netball Series. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kerry Simpson. Here are the details. The opposition is taking the government to task over the increased importation of certain agricultural produce and the lack of storage. O'Shane Masters has our first story.
Shadow spokesman on agriculture Dr. Dayton Campbell has called for a special audit into the importation of Irish potatoes. It comes following what he says is an unjustifiable increase in the importation of the produce by the Agriculture Ministry, led by Floyd Green. At a PNP press conference on Tuesday, Dr. Campbell said that in 2023, 6,852 kilograms of Irish potato were imported, compared to over 4,700,000 kilograms in the previous year, a 43% increase. But why not just seek detailed clarification from the Agriculture Ministry rather than a special audit?
To determine why the efforts of the ministry are failing rather than providing the expected results. When we look at polling in the country, one of the topical issues is cost of living. The hollowed attempts that were made on Sunday does not address the cost of living crisis.
In the meantime, the shadow spokesman on agriculture has also chastised the government over the importation of onions. Currently, he says the market has been flooded with imported onions, while local farmers are dealing with great losses due to inadequate storage.
Minister Green speaks glibly about the establishment of storage facilities, and yet farmers suffered losses earlier this year when production exceeded the monthly requirement of 850,000 kilograms. And they had no appropriate storage facilities. Prices were depressed, and inadequate storage facilities resulted in crop deterioration and resultant losses.
He further noted that the price of onions have increased way above that of inflation.
Over the last 5 years, 2019 to 2023, the average annual prices moved from $448 per kilogram to $740 per kilogram, an increase of 65%, or an average yearly increase of 13%, which is way above the annual inflation rate. This can neither be good stewardship of a flagship program nor purposeful management of the variables that affect the average consumers. The management of imported supplies was equally inadequate.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The St. Catherine North Police is reporting the recovery of what they believe are stolen cattle. According to reports, sometime close to 11 yesterday morning, members of the Prairie Larceny Prevention Team were conducting an operation in Guanabo Vale in Bogwalk when a white Toyota Probox was signaled to stop. It's understood that the driver disobeyed and attempted to elude the police but crashed into a cane field.
Eluded the police there and then. The motor vehicle was searched and 4 goats believed to be stolen were recovered in that motor car. Other police personnel were contacted, and so a deliberate roadblock was set up just some distance down the road, and a motor vehicle was intercepted with one of the persons who was in this Toyota Probox motor car.
He was taken into custody for questioning. Acting Senior Superintendent Hopton Nicholson also revealed that the individual has over 200 outstanding tickets. In the meantime, this warning to meat consumers.
They get these meats and farm produce from legitimate sources. Whenever we are conducting our operations, we will be checking on restaurants, persons who are promoting cookouts, and wholesale meat shops as well. And we are going to ensure that farmers are the ones who actually reap what was sown.
And just to correct, it was actually stolen goat. Continuing the news, the Lloyd Cemetery in St. Thomas has been ordered closed. It comes after numerous complaints by residents that the cemetery has breached its boundaries and has taken over the roadway. The development comes after mounting appeals by residents of Lloyd's district in St. Thomas. They have long complained that the cemetery has reached its capacity, but burials continue to be approved.
I'm a farmer in the area, and this is a road that me used to go to my farm, and it's a driving road that me used to go to my farm. But this cemetery has taken over more than half of the road. Me cannot drive here anymore. We cannot hardly use the road. Not even a donkey can come across it right now because they block it totally.
The residents further accused the municipal corporation of lack of maintenance of the cemetery.
And this wasn't even a parish council cemetery. When this cemetery did give to the people of the community, that they could just bury their dead. That's what this cemetery was. And then it's just all a while parish council come and take it over, and they are doing nothing.
Me and my councillor, Mr. John Lee, walk the cemetery where they build the grave them in the road. And we tell them, say, no grave in the road, and the people them still building the grave in the road. When the people them need to go to them property, I want to know where they are going to walk.
John Lee is councillor for the Yalis division.
There is a deep concern regarding the capacity of the cemetery. However, myself have been lobbying with the council in regards to regulation of boundaries concerning the cemetery. Now we have a adjoining farm road close in proximity to the cemetery. However, we have persons putting individuals laying to rest in the road itself. Now, I have great respect for the move of the Mayor Chin, in regards to the immediate closure of the cemetery until our technical team get all severe documents together.
Finance Minister Favour Williams is rubbishing claims that the Prime Minister's announcement to reduce General Consumption Tax GCT on electricity bills is a vote-buying scheme. Minister Williams, during this morning's post-cabinet press briefing, says it was first discussed when she was State Minister in the Finance Ministry back in 2018.
There and realized where it was, I had to pick it up again. And so here we are. So this has nothing to do with elections. It's a project that was started then, many years ago, and it's one that's even more worthy now to get executed, and we are doing that.
The opposition People's National Party criticized the initiative as having minimal impact on the lives of the majority of Jamaica public service customers, while economist Dr. Damian King argued that it was a bad policy move. But in her presentation this morning, Minister Williams provided a pictorial drawing of how the impending reduction would benefit households. She says with the addition of more renewables as well as a national campaign to promote prepaid service for electricity use, the cost of electricity could go down even further.
$100, $500, $1,000, and as often as they need to, so they can better match their income pattern with their affordability.
And it's time for a break. Stay with us. More local stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Yet another search was carried out this morning in the Spice Grove community for 15-year-old Georgiana Bramwell. The search, which lasted for 4 hours and involved the K9 Division, family and JCF personnel from Manchester, however, did not reap any success. Ms. Bramwell has been missing since last Wednesday. She is also said to be epileptic. According to her mother, she suffers from as many as 15 seizures per day and is currently without any medication. Anyone with information on Georgiana's whereabouts can contact her mother at 876-787-3378, the Manchester Police, or 119. And it's now time for the Business Minute.
Industrial Minister Auburn Hill is encouraging productivity training for the labor force to enable persons to produce more high-quality value-added products and services. Jamaica's productivity levels are among the lowest in Latin America and the Caribbean. Minister Hill also pointed out that improving the quality of the country's physical infrastructure is important to increasing productivity levels, economic growth, and exchange rate stability. Chairman of the contract manufacturer Young Lu said Foxconn saw the primary impact of any fresh tariffs falling on its clients because its business model was based on contract manufacturing. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump said on Monday that on his first day in office, he will impose a 25% tariff on all products from Mexico and Canada and will charge goods from China an additional 10% tariff. Now, Foxconn, the world's largest contract electronics maker, has large manufacturing facilities in China, including a giant iPhone assembly plant. However, it has been increasing its investments in other countries, such as the United States, Mexico, and Vietnam, as part of a supply chain diversification effort. For the Business Minute, I'm Shane Masters.
Thanks, Shane, and here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In this evening's Health Report, we look at pancreatic cancer.
It's definitely a disease of the middle-aged and older adults, and men are at a slightly increased risk. So definitely, if you have a middle-aged or older male, you want to make sure that they do their best to try to maintain a healthy weight. Definitely avoid cigarette smoking, and you really want to check on your regulate your alcohol usage.
That's the Health Report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Don't smoke. Limit alcohol intake. Limit red and processed meat. Manage diabetes and get screened.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
The Barbados government is working with the United Nations and the Institute for Gender Development Studies at the University of the West Indies to craft a national policy on gender. Authorities say Barbados and the region continue to grapple with high cases of gender-based violence, which cannot be solved by the government alone. The Ministry of People Empowerment says work continues with international and local stakeholders to eliminate domestic and gender-based violence in Barbadian and Caribbean societies. The United Nations and the Institute for Gender Development Studies are expected to provide critical data to ensure programs and policies are formulated to eliminate the problem. On the international scene, a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah has come into effect in Lebanon after more than a year of fighting. It began Wednesday, putting an at least a temporary end to nearly 14 months of conflict between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group. The deal was announced on Tuesday evening by Israel, France, and the US, with President Joe Biden saying it aimed to be a permanent cessation of hostilities. Attacks by both sides were recorded until shortly before the ceasefire started. Israel issued evacuation orders for parts of Beirut 4 hours before the ceasefire deadline, striking around an hour before. Hezbollah also fired drones into Israel in the hours before fighting stopped. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Hal Shane Burke.
Thanks, Hal Shane, and we head to another break. When we come back, we'll have your Midday Sports Report.